Hey guys, Namaste and welcome to our YouTube channel Tutor Pratik. On today's CSS session, we are going to learn about the CSS layout properties, float and clear. The CSS float property specifies how an element should float, and the CSS clear property specifies what elements can float beside the cleared element and on which side. So by using this float and clear properties, we can easily manage our CSS layout by positioning our HTML elements. So before we start today's session, if you are first time watching our videos and still didn't subscribe to our YouTube channel, please do subscribe our YouTube channel and press the bell button that it will be notified whenever we publish our new session videos. Now let's begin today's session. In our previous session, we learned about CSS positioning for positioning our HTML elements. If you haven't watched our previous CSS position video, you can check that video from the link provided in the video description, and also it is available in the I button. And similarly, CSS positioning property, the float property, is also used for positioning and formatting contents, like for floating an image to left or the right side of our container. Basically, the float property can have one of the following values: left, right, none, and inherit. Here in our HTML file, we have one paragraph, and after that we added one image inside the second paragraph. So as a default, the image is aligned to the left side and it covers all the spaces on its right side too. So to make our this desert.jpg image align left side or right side, and we want to wrap our text around this image, we can use this float property. So to floating our this desert.jpg image in the right side of our paragraph, inside our style tab, we can add float property for our image element. Float right. Now after adding the float property and the value given to right side for our image element, we can see that in our browser our image has positioned to the right side and the paragraph text is automatically wrapped around our image. Due to the text alignment is left side, we can see these irregular edges. So to fix these irregular edges, we can use text alignment to justify. For this, on P element, let's give text align justify. Now we can see that the text are wrapped around our image and we have the text edges are straight and even. Similarly, we can also float our image in the left side of our paragraph. For that, we can just use the value left for our float property in our image element. Now our image has aligned in the left side, and as default there is no spaces between the image and this paragraph text. If you want to add some spaces around this image, we can use the padding for this image element. Padding right. Let's give 20 pixels. Now we have the spaces from this text around this image. Along with this left and right side, we have another value for our float property, that is none. This none value for our floating property is the default one. So our image remains in its default value, same as when we do not apply any float property for our image element. And lastly, we have another one value for our float property, that is inherit. The inherit value for this float property applies the value of floating as same as its parent floating property. That means this image have the same floating property what its parent element has. In our condition, we have this image element just after our P tag. That means this P element is the parent element of our image desert.jpg. So when we use the floating property as an inherit value, this image floating property applies same as of this parent P element. And here, for our P element, we do not apply any floating property. That's why when we give this inherit property, there is no changes in our image floating property, because its parent element's floating property is also the default one. So when we change the floating property of the P tag to right side, now we can see that even we gave the floating property inherit for the image, it automatically takes the right floating value as its parent P element. So when you want your child elements to get automatically as same as its parent element's floating property, we can use this inherit value for our floating property. Whenever we use this float property in the CSS, simultaneously we always need one another property, that is clear. So to know when and why to use this clear property, let's make some changes, like let's remove this floating property for our P tag and let's give the border 1 pixel solid green. And for our image, let's give the right floating property. After that, let's delete some text from this P element. Now here we can see the error that is showing due to our floating property. That is when we have the lower text contents and our floating image is bigger than our text contents, we can see that the area of our P element is smaller than our image, which is floated in the right side. And when we add another P tag and added some text, we can see that the new paragraph is just below of our previous tag and which is overlapped by our floating image. So this may arise the hiding of our contents by our floating elements. So to fix this type of problem, we have to use the clear property. For now, we want to move this new paragraph just after this image. And along with this, we want to engage automatically the height of this paragraph that will cover all the elements that are inside. For doing this, we have to use the clear property. In the clear property, we also have the following values: none, left, right, both, and inherit. In our condition, our image is floated to the right side. So we have the clear property with clearing right side. For this, let's create one class, the clear fix, and let's give the clear property and let's give the right value, because we have right floating elements. So we want to clear this right floating elements, we can give the clear value as a right. In our condition, we want to clear this floating effect from this new paragraph. So let's give our clear fix class for this new paragraph. Class clear fix. Now after applying the class clear fix, which have the property clear right side, for the new paragraph, we can see that our new paragraph moved just after this floating image. Similarly, in this clear property, we can also use the left value if you want to clear the left floating property. Or also we can use the inherit value if you want to inherit the clear property from its parent element. And if you want to make always clear all the sides, you can use the both value. Both value will clear all the directions of the previous floating elements. Now in our second paragraph, due to the less content than the image height, the image is overflowed from our P element. To fix it, we can use the overflow property in this P element. Overflow auto. Now we have this paragraph covered all its content. In our previous session, we already learned about this full function of our overflow property. If you don't know about the functions of this overflow property, you can check it in our previous video. And also you can get the video link in our video description and also I added in the I button. In this way, we can use this float property and the clear property for positioning and arranging our HTML elements in CSS layout design. That's all for today. If you have any confusions and have any queries, you can write me through our video comment that I will able to understand your problem and can try to solve it. We will come back soon with new session videos. Until then, take care, goodbye.